Ben.
Excuse me?
All right. Very exciting dev stream tonight. So we got a lot to talk about. So what did you guys think?
Dude, that was pretty exciting, man.
It was a visual feast, man. That was a great time. I mean, just so much to see. I felt rejuvenated and energized from the last few streams. Like, not that those were bad, but this was just like feeding the soul of I think of a lot of us, right?
Yeah, definitely. I love anything that has to do with like combat and classes and stuff, and I feel like weapons falls within that. Like, that really is like up my alley. So I love seeing all the different weapons and that kind of stuff. What about you?
Yeah, dungeons for me, man. That's like all I think about. That's all like the Outworld to me is just like an exploratory ground to find more dungeons, right? Like I'm and getting to see a new dungeon. It looked so cool too, man. And the thing about everything they create with Pantheon is that when you look at it, it looks more than just like a set piece. You know what I mean? Like, we're playing Final Fantasy 14 MMO 101, and it has some beautiful set piece dungeons, right? But like, these are more than that, right? Like, it's not just a background for your adventure. It's everything's climbable and interactable, and there's so many nooks and crannies, and it's real. It has history and lore. Like, dude, just crazy exciting, man.
Yeah, you can't even put into words, I think, how different that is, right? Like, what you're saying is it's almost like the difference between like a slideshow and then going to like a museum, right? Like, it's two completely different things, right? Like,
yeah,
I looking at the dungeon that they showed there, the inside of the gate in the atrium, that area, I was more intrigued by just looking at that than I am when I go through so many other dungeons, because I just feel like there's more options. Like, I feel like there's just a world of options there, and you don't see that, in some other games like you talked about. Yeah, man, like, just exciting. The height, the thing that struck me about the gate, I mean, the inside was awesome, but the height from outside, and I know Ronak talked about it a lot, but it was the first thing I noticed too, was the scale. Very high, yes, very high. Well, I think Ronak and I are on the same wavelength tonight, because I was like thinking that too. Like, the scale was big, and you just felt looking down over the edge, like it would be one of those feelings where you'd feel your heart sort of, skip a beat maybe, or you just sort of would get that sense of falling out, like, man, it was great.
Oh, and for Dr. Drip, that plate armor he's wearing is very special armor. That is not just your run of the mill basic plate armor. That's more in the lines of like what the guards might wear in or something like that. I mean, I don't know what I'm allowed to say, what I'm not, but that would be a good base point to say that the regular armor doesn't look that flashy.
I'm pretty sure we've seen that before on Dead Space.
Train them if you don't like
I think so too. Yeah,
yeah, that's what I was trying to think if we had or not. But
you're on solid ground.
You're good.
You're good.
I had two things that really like stood out to me from the stream. One, and maybe it's just super small, and maybe it's just me, but we've been playing all these MMOs, and the dungeon that had this little teeny bridge from one area, and then it went up the stairs, right? Then the bridge crossed the chasm, and then it went up the stairs. But the little teeny little pathway with like sheer drop 200 feet down, it didn't have any rails on it. There was nothing to like keep you from just like walking off it. And how many MMOs have we played where you can't fall to your death no matter what you do? Like, the game keeps you safe. And I'm just looking at that. I'm thinking there's no way that like people aren't just going to fall off that and die, and that for me
Oh yeah.
is so exciting. And people even joking about how many times Ronick had died falling off off that
Yeah.
hill.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to break. I have a habit now because so many MMOs put you on rails that the first thing I do is run to see if I can fall off. You guys remember playing Dungeons and Dragons online, and I just ran immediately and jumped off the cliff, like because I didn't expect that it would let me. Right, so those are the kind of things we have to retrain our brain to be like, hey, this is a real world, so maybe don't test everything. You can probably fall off of anything, right?
Yeah.
I think I did that in New World too, didn't I? Like there was this hole or whatever, and I jumped down
In a
there.
dungeon, yeah,
in a
wasn't it?
dungeon,
Yep.
And that was
that's
cool.
right.
I was happy that I did it, and I was happy that they killed me because.
But the difference between that in New World and what we're looking at in Pantheon is when you fall in Pantheon, whatever's down there is a real place as well, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
if you had a rope, if you had Featherfall, if you had, whatever, then you could go down there and explore as well. It's not just you died, you fell in the bottomless pit hole, right?
Oh,
There may be some bottomless pit holes too. But,
I think
I'm
there
just
will
saying.
be. They kind of got into that too, right? Joppa kind of got really into it when he was talking about thinking of it from a D&D, adventure perspective, where it's like, what can I do here? What are my avenues? What different things can I do that the game isn't pushing you to experience it in one way. You can do so many different things, right? Like, do I jump down this hole? Do I have a rogue that can help me get up? Do I have a druid that can make a bridge across here? Like, I think that vision is so important and is so what we're here for, right? Like, that's what we're here for. We want that kind of stuff. We want options, whether it's our death. If our death is an option, we want that, like.
Yeah, and think about this. Think about if you come up to a bridge like that, right? You and your group, and it's first time you're exploring it. You come up on the bridge, and you're like, "Okay, let's be careful not to fall off." And then you see a visual cue of wind blowing across, and you're like, "Nope, nope, 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 not going across that."
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of exciting exploration type of things that Pantheon's doing that nobody else does.
Yeah. And I like that they went back and did a bit of a like storybook of the past dungeons. I didn't expect that. That was a nice. I think that was a really smart thing to do, and show Amber Fate, show Halnir, show what was the other one they showed? I don't remember. Black Rose Keep, right?
Black Rose. How can you forget Black Rose?
I know. I was overwhelmed. Overwhelmed.
That's my favorite one. That's the one I love. Black Rose.
Me too.
Now,
actually.
were those pictures taken after the HDRP? Because they looked really good, but it could just be that it was a really good taken picture. I mean, they looked really good.
It's hard for
you know
me
what
to
I mean?
tell. I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
I don't know. Amber Fate looked kind of the same to me, but Black Rose Keep looked different to me. It looked like there was more polish and more detail. There were some like little details, that I think we hadn't seen before. But yeah, it's a good question. I wanted to ask that in chat.
We haven't seen Black Rose in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while, but like it still impresses. Like it's still somewhere that you're just like, oh, I just want to go there. But yeah. So Black Rose will forever be to me. It could be years after launch. It will always be the place that the cool kids got to go stream back in the day. Remember that when they've invited some. That will always be what that is, where the cool kids got to go stream back in the day.
Dude, that was so cool.
Yeah. And Ronik's in chat. He mentioned he said those are old shots. Not sure if you guys had seen the Black Rose Keep shot before though. So.
I don't believe I had.
I hadn't seen that.
I definitely hadn't seen the Black Rose Keep one.
That specific angle and that like vantage point of that room, I hadn't seen that before. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. Pre-HDRP, he says. So that's good to know. Yeah. So, I mean, just expect it to look better. And on that note, what did you guys think of the models of the halfling, the ogre, the elf, the pre and post? What did you guys think of those ones?
I liked them.
A little shocking, huh? It looked better than I would have thought. Like when they're like, yeah, we brought the models in HDRP. I wouldn't have expected that big of a difference. And what's crazy is those were screenshots, right? So we don't get the full effect of how good it probably really looks. But it kind of blew me away. I wasn't expecting much of a difference, to be honest.
Yeah.
My favorite part is because, and I know this is sacrilege, but graphics for me is not the main thing, right? It never has been, and probably never will be. But what I liked about it is that they said in there that they didn't have to redo all the models. That this was just they upgraded the engine, and they just looked better. So it's not like it's just an upgrade. It's not we have to go back and redo everything.
Train them if you don't
And
like.
I see this as kind of like a theme of of
True,
everything they're
true.
doing recently. It's like we're just doing these upgrades, and then it just affects the whole game, right? We don't have
Yeah.
to go back and redo everything. We already did that. That's done. Now we have this base. Now we just make upgrades, and now things just look better, and stuff just functions better. And so I really like that theme. And I think and they kind of talked about how things are going faster, things are moving faster, and that makes total sense to me, because if you can make one upgrade and everything can look better, if you can make one upgrade and everything can function better, then like of course your development's going to go faster because you're just zooming through stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I was the thing I noticed about them is they looked less like a toy or like a mannequin, and much more I'll say human, but for lack of a better word, much more realistic, but not in an overly way. It's still in the high fantasy theme, but those old models, I liked them before, but now I look at them and I'm like,
Train
I can't
them
even
if
look
you
at
don't
those
like
anymore because they don't even compare. I mean, these lunch with them. I mean, they looked that good. So
Yeah, I have to say, I have a hard time a lot of the times with talking about graphics with Pantheon, and the reason being is like I've already married Pantheon, right? It's kind of like my wife; like she's going to be attractive to me no matter what now, right? Because
careful here,
I'm married
Nathan.
to her.
Careful, careful.
I'm just saying it's the way it is. I've been with her long enough to where I'm married to it. Whatever it is what I like, right? So I kind of sometimes am like that with Pantheon with graphics, right? Like they look way better and I'm super happy about it. And I think it's good for the game. And I can see that like for new players or people who are going to find out about Pantheon later, that they're going to, that this is good. Right. But for me, it's just kind of like, it looks cool, but whatever. I like the old one too, so whatever they do with the graphics, I'm already bought in. Right. Like, so it's not going to, negatively affect me no matter what they do.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good
I'm
point.
with you, Nathan, 100%.
Yeah,
I was good with the
We're
first
all
round
with
of
you.
graphics. I was good with the 2018 graphics. Honestly, I couldn't have done it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I'm a sucker. I mean, I sort of speak out of both sides of my mouth sometimes, and I say, graphics. Sometimes graphics can be a bit of a band-aid for things and cover up a lot of, underneath warts. But on the other hand, too, I like a game that looks pretty like this. And those models were, I love those models. They look so good, and
They do look good, and they do look better than the old models for sure.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. So, but because I know Pantheon's solid underneath, I know they're not covering up crappy gameplay, so I'm okay with it then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the most important part.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this show is not just about us three sharing our opinions. This is about the community, because community matters, and that's what matters for Pantheon, and that's what matters for Pantheon Plus. And so, what we want you to do is, and Therek, can you paste the link in there again? We want you
Yes.
to join what we call our green room. You can hop in our Discord, and then what's going to happen is Therek will pull you up in to talk with us, and you can share what you liked about the stream, what you thought was exciting, maybe even what you didn't like. We'd love to hear that too. So anything that you thought was interesting about the dev stream, we would love to hear your opinion on it, because that's what this show is all about. So, Therek, you got a first victim in mind?
My first victim is Lucille, who we haven't talked to in a while. So
Oh,
we're gonna
very cool.
bring in Lucille. So Lucille, if you want to unmute yourself, and I will bring you in right now. Hi, Lucille. How are you? Still muted. Unmute yourself.
Uh-oh.
We'll give him a second. There you go. Hey. Are you there?
Lucille.
Can't hear you. Okay, we'll put you back, and we'll get you back later if you get your mic fixed up or whatever. Okay, we'll come back to Lucille. Who should we go with instead? We'll go with Des. We know Des.
All right.
So, Des, if you want to unmute yourself, I'll bring you in. There he is. What's up, Des?
Hey guys.
Oh,
Hey.
Hey.
What's happening?
Well, I mean, you know what's happening.
Well, I want to know what's
Try not
happening
to
from
be
your
hyped.
perspective.
Yeah, trying not to be hyped in spite of a pretty freaking good stream.
Yeah.
You got to let the hype
Not
flow. Let it
overhyped.
flow.
He's trying
Don't
to stay
hold back.
calm.
Yeah,
Well,
let
like,
it.
I mean, you guys might have seen like the Discord's just kind of me prefacing everyone and being like, no, let's not expect so much. Let's not get our hopes too high. And then and then it was a really solid stream, like with a decent amount of beans.
Yeah.
A
There was
decent
a
amount
lot
of
of- there was
beans.
a
A
lot
lot
of
of them. Absolutely.
I mean, Joppa opened the floor for Onik. He totally dropped the ball, man. He was straight up like, "Tell us what you want about it," and he's like, it's cool. It was really, am I allowed to say?"
We
Yeah,
were in
that's totally
we
true.
were in Discord because we sit together and watch the stream together, and Nathan was literally face palming. He was just like,
No, I definitely appreciated just kind of I don't know, I feel like the format was just really clean. In spite of like, Joppa at that one point kind of like, as he said, you prepared for the question, but still like kind of take a second there.
Yeah, that was a cool
which
moment.
in itself, it was kind of one of the highlight moments for me. Just see, I don't know, there's a certain sense of relief that I feel that I'm seeing in the recent releases of content, and it's a little infectious. Like I said, I don't want to run away with it and be like, "Oh man, this means next year is going to have this, and this." But there's something going on that I feel when I listen to them, and
Yeah, they feel good. They feel really good about
Yeah.
a little something. Yeah.
yeah, and it's a different kind of good than just pure. We want to make the game sound really good and keep interest, and I don't know. I feel like a load is being taken off when I listen to
Yeah,
them.
I think what I feel the same thing, and I think when I heard him answer that question, the sense that I get is it's not like a good in a way that wasn't expected, but it's the kind of relief that you get when you're like, we're gonna make it, and we're gonna get there, and we are like, they're feeling their work come to fruition, right? Like that's you when somebody puts their heart and soul into something and you see it starting to like, you see it getting to where they want it to be. I think that's the sense, the feeling that I got when they're trying to answer that question. So
Well,
that's pretty amazing.
Well, too, I think that for a long time in development for any game, and even more so with an indie team, there's that. Can we do it? How are we going to do this?
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's really scary for a long time. Like, is what we want to do, is the vision even actually possible?
Yeah.
And I think they've hit that point now where they're like, oh yeah, it's totally possible. And we still have a lot of width and room on the lane for lots of future things as well. Right. So I think when they restructured the code and the HDRP and the tools they're using to create the world, I think everything's just really coming together very clean, where they just, the path is obviously laid before them now.
Like some of the doubts are evaporating, right? Or maybe some of the pressure is being relieved, and that's just an amazing feeling. So
I think it's pretty interesting too. If you think back, right? Like when I pledged to this game, right? Back in, it was 2018. Think about how many other MMOs were at the same place as Pantheon. They were in development. The future was bright, but they're not here anymore, man. Like I can think of 4 to 5 other indie MMOs that we were following at the time, as part of just the overall MMO community, that we were excited about, that haven't made it, right?
Especially the one with Unchained in it.
Right. Listen, I wasn't gonna like rip any band-aids off, Nathan, but I was kind of thinking about that
I'm
one.
gonna go and rip that one off for everybody. That's looking ugly. It's looking bad.
You know, Desrin, there was one thing that made me think of you during the stream, and it was something that you had told me a little while ago, because we were talking about asset conversion and what the next HDRP stream, and just your general knowledge of what HDRP means and what it's about. And they talked about the lighting, right? How it interplays with the models, and it immediately made me think of you, because you had said this, you had told me this, that this is one of the big things about, you know, converting the assets from the old Unity, what's the word I'm looking for, but stream to the new HDRP stream, and the lighting and how it interacts with the models is one of the big things. Did you catch that too?
Oh, absolutely. It's actually funny you mentioned that, because in that same vein, what I was curious about was, you know, what they would show with the next HDRP stream, and talking about how when they start adding all the ground clutter and like the foliage, like Joppa mentioned, it's going to look so much better. And it's funny because Joppa just, I think it was Joppa or, whatever. They kind of address that as, okay, the next HDRP stream, or the next one they call the HDRP number 2, is going to have that stuff in it,
Right.
potentially. And so, but yeah, like all the lighting changes just make everything look so much more natural.
Yeah.
And stuff like not stick out. I think a lot of people mention like the eyes in particular.
On the
Kind
ogre
of-
in particular, right? Did you
point,
notice
yeah.
that on the ogre, how the
Yeah.
eyes were different?
Yep. And really, I'm just happy to see that they're on something modern. Not that the built-in render pipeline isn't technically modern. It's just, I see a lot of good things coming about with the HDRP conversion. And to me, this is like a baseline. Like, this is a great improvement suddenly, because we get to see that before and after, which I think was a great decision. There's so many things in the stream that I was like, that was a good decision to put that in there.
I
Like you
know, I
mentioned,
felt that too. Yeah.
yeah, like showing off the dungeons and all that. But what I'm excited for is we're starting here, but HDRP, the features that are and will be unlocked with that, I think just make the game even more scalable into the future. We were talking about graphics a second ago, and like, to me, Pantheon where it is now, I'm so much more happy with than the previous one. Even if I still would love the game and stuff, it would have felt weird for the game, if it came out in however many years from now, to launch with the graphics as they were, because I would kind of feel like, hey, we're getting this MMO now that kind of looks like something that's old. And now where we're at is, it looks modern, at least.
Yeah.
Like the lighting and stuff, it just looks modern. The shadows look modern, and HDRP is just going to unlock them to go further if they need to in the future. And so
Yeah.
I'm just a lot more happy about the future and like the release product to be at least graphically ready for the general populace.
Yeah, and they started off the stream by saying that they're close to the finish line with the conversion process.
They did
All-
say that.
Isn't that crazy? Like, they're close to the finish line.
They
Everything
said it
being-
was fast. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, the
you know,
nice thing too is that maybe even though I don't care about graphics so much, like a lot of people do. So when I tell people about Pantheon, I don't have to be embarrassed about the graphics. And that's not a hill they
Right.
have to get over, right? That's not
No,
something
true.
I have to convince them. Okay, well the graphics are kind of, but you got to get to the gameplay. Like I don't have to do that. Like the graphics look awesome.
That's totally a thing. And it's funny you mention it like that too. Like, I don't have to be embarrassed to, say X, because I've totally felt that when I talk about Pantheon. Is I feel like even if a person might be interested otherwise, it always felt awkward for me to be like, well, so this is the game, but you have to understand that there's all these, really good mechanical things that they're doing, trying to explain it. It sounds like you're trying to defend it when you're really just trying to explain it. But now it's kind of like, well, the whole package is there. Like, it has draw on its own on first sight.
I agree.
Sure.
Totally
Really
agree.
good point. Hey, while you're on the line, I did want to ask you about your opinion on this, Des, because I know you good enough to know you probably looked into it. Not too long ago, last month, when Unity bought out the the digital stuff
work
from
stuff,
Peter
yeah.
Jackson. Do you feel like that some of those tools and like effects and stuff that kind of come along with that team and everything is going to help Pantheon 2 in the future?
I'm gonna be a bummer here and say no. And
Okay.
if it does affect in the future, it's probably going to be the far future.
Okay.
I think the tools that they are going to be adding to Unity will take a while to mature and be a part of something like a project like Pantheon. There's probably going to be some bleed over for the more high end kind of stuff, but you have to consider this is all tools for film being kind of turned into tools for real-time graphics. And those are
True.
very different things.
Yes.
So I think it might in the far future, but not like pre-release and if it does kind of end up bleeding into Unity for regular projects like this and not just like super high-end stuff or like movies and stuff like animated stuff that's made with Unity. I feel like it's just going to be a long time. So
Yeah, it is good though. It is good at least at bare minimum for the longevity of the name Unity, right?
Unity,
So
yes.
you don't want it. You don't want that to be an embarrassment either, right? Like 7 years after launch, you don't want people to be like, "Oh, it's made in Unity." I don't really feel like dealing with that.
Right,
You know
'cause
what I
that's
mean?
been the sentiment in the past, and that's been a big dragging point for Pantheon. Is a lot of people will dismiss it because it's an MMO made in Unity, and that's just not something that is common.
They're just
Yeah.
thinking it's
becoming more common.
a browser MMO. That's what a lot of people I talk to. They're just like, does that mean it's playing in a browser? No.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah, I mean,
A
it
game
does
like- a
mean
game
it's
like
very
Fall
easily
Bros?
portable.
Ball Bros. Yes.
Oh my gosh. I still need to watch that, by the way. But yeah, I think it shows that Unity is a very serious name because, Unreal, no doubt, has been making some big moves,
Sure.
recently. And so I feel like this is Unity's big move to be like, we're serious. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
we are a contender. So it's an exciting thing, but not in a direct way,
Yeah. Yeah.
Bounty Code just said you don't have to say Pantheon has a great personality anymore.
Yeah, they can just find out how good its personality is later.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
That's
Funny.
awesome.
Right on. Okay, Des, I'm gonna drop you back to the green room. But any last words before we say goodbye?
Good stuff.
Good stuff. Right on, man.
Later, man.
Cheers, dude. Talk to you later.
Man.
All right. So I know Lucille said in chat that
He
they had to
fixed his
replug
mic.
their mic. So Lucille, I'm gonna pull you in again. So if you want to unmute yourself, we'll give it another go. And here they come. Hi, Lucille. Are you good now with your mic? Come on, unmute yourself.
You can do it.
You can do it. There you go. Hey,
Can y'all hear me now?
now we
Yeah.
can hear you.
Yep.
Oh man, how are y'all doing tonight?
Good. How are you
Fantastic.
doing?
Good.
Oh, I just had one of the greatest times in a while
Yeah.
watching
Yeah.
that stream.
What was your favorite part?
I love the inside of that temple. It really gave me vibes with do y'all remember the big building in the middle of City of Mist?
I don't.
Calm?
What about you
Yeah.
guys?
Yeah. Wasn't that that city that
It
dungeon?
had two it had two sets of stairs up the sides and then a big platform in the middle surrounded by water.
That might have been the one that Joppa referenced on stream because he mentioned a dungeon on stream that he's sort of an inspiration, and I don't remember what it was, but that might have been what he was talking about. But yeah, I mean, it reminded me of a lot of things. It reminded me of a lot of things for sure. I think there was definitely some Zelda going on there. I felt that too, and when they were talking about the water and the just the design of it, had that water temple feel, which I think we all know that reference. But yeah, it was impressive. It was impressive. It looked really good.
So much time in that dungeon.
Yeah. Did you die many times in there?
Yes.
Yeah. He left
And,
many corpses.
Another thing was I can't wait to see how all those weapons are gonna look in the hands of a gnome.
Yeah,
Oh
true.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, although
I was
oh,
just blown away.
right. Although gnomes, the only melee class available to the gnomes is rogues. But they did show daggers. So yeah, like some of those daggers, and maybe they can use some of the other weapons too. Who knows, right? Jop actually touched on that. Did you guys pick up on that when he was talking about that? He was saying like any race, weapons and class restrictions sort of thing. I'm trying to remember what he was saying, but do you guys remember?
Yeah. So
Yeah, we're.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say. I think what I might be wrong, but I think what you're talking about is when he went into he was kind of hinting around that there may be a lot more choices for what you want to use as your weapon because it's going to be more important than we think it's going to be, kind of thing, with the skills and choice of what weapon we decide to use. So yeah, that's kind of interesting, right? Like,
yeah, he did emphasize that too. Actually, I'm looking at my notes because I knew
he said it twice.
He did, yeah. He wanted us to really hear him. And I wrote it down. He said, the goal is to make weapon choice and skill a meaningful decision for all classes at all levels. Not every class can use every weapon, but we want choice to matter. And then the second thing was weapon type skills are going to go much deeper than simply improving your chance to hit the target. And more details to come in the new year. So, yeah.
And I love that.
I can't wait to see staffs.
Yes.
Yeah. That was something else that I noticed too. There were some weapons you would think we would see, but we didn't see. We didn't see any swords, and we didn't see any staffs. But we also didn't see any bows because sad rangers. But
well, and Joppa nixed my question, even though Ronick asked it about whether
Yeah.
if caster type weapons, if equipping certain weapons would affect your spell casting. And he mysteriously said, "We'll get to that later."
that means it does. Come on.
yeah, that's right.
That's what that means.
But that's super cool. I would love to actually have a weapon choice as a caster, right?
Well,
That's
and I gotta say, if not too long ago, Joppa said strength might mean you could push a fireball out further.
I remember that.
Then
Or it might
surely weapons would matter then.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all those plus strength weapons.
Yeah. Right on. Anything else, Lucille, that stood out to you, or that was your highlight?
I also had flashbacks because I spent a lot of time in Kazakh Thul.
Yeah.
With all those vines growing over everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it made me think of Kazakh Thul as well.
Dude,
all those lizards.
Definitely. I spent forever in Kazakh. I was camping that Dark Forge armor, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Killing Crusaders. That was the mob. Lizard Crusaders. That's the mob that dropped. What was
Lizard Crusaders?
Yeah, decaying armor, which then you could turn in.
And wasn't there raptors in the back?
Maybe. I don't know if I ever got to the back. I think I got killed too
raptors.
quickly.
There were gorillas for sure.
Yeah, there were gorillas. That's right.
I don't remember raptors and alligators. There were definitely alligators.
Yeah.
And there was mini Kazakh Thul, the Avatar.
Yep.
The Avatar.
The Avatar. Yep, that's right.
Oh yeah, my first raid with Divus Dovene on Prexis, I got the glorious death touch from Kazakh Thul.
Oh nice.
Oh nice. Sacrificial lamb.
Okay. Somebody's got to do it. Were you a paladin?
No, I was a warrior.
It's usually that's usually the paladin's job.
But I was level 55. So.
Oh wow,
that. Right on. Well, thanks, Lucille, for jumping in. We really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Y'all have a good night.
You too, man. We'll talk again soon. All right. So I think we'll grab Breakout next, and I know Breakout was he was taking the night off streaming to join us here. So Breakout, I'm gonna pull you in. What's up, Breakout? Hey, man, are you there? Breakout. Maybe
Breakout,
not.
we know that your mic works. You can't trick us.
Yeah,
I was
that's
gonna
right.
say, just say you don't love us anymore and move on.
We have evidence from as recent as Tuesday that your mic actually works. So okay, well, we'll put you back in the green room and you can fix it, and then we'll bring you back. All right. How about Idiotech? I haven't talked to him in a while. So Idiotech, I'm gonna pull you in. Hey, Idiotech, how are you?
Hey, what's going on? Sorry, I gotta mute the stream or else you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it happens to me every time.
What is going on, gentlemen? How you doing?
We're doing great, I
Doing
think.
great, man.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, no, it was a pleasure. I literally worked from like 8 a.m. until like 8 tonight at home, and was like, and I like forgot throughout the day. I was like, oh wait, there's a stream tonight. So I was like ready to sleep. I was like, no, I can't sleep.
Yeah, that would be the only thing that would keep me going through a 12-hour shift like that, is knowing that I had to stream to come home to. And
exactly. I definitely remember this morning, but when I got home, I was like, what am I doing tonight? Oh, the stream. Let's do
That's
this.
right.
Yep.
And it didn't disappoint, did it?
Not at all. No. So this is fantastic. It was fun. It was fun watching it. I'll say the first thing I wanted to say is Joppa preaching. Like he hit it for a second there. Like I was like, he's up there with like, and this isn't politics aside. He's up there with like Obama making you feel something where you're just like, he knew how to at least speak, when he was doing his thing. So that's what Joppa felt like. Like Joppa was sitting there and he's like, listen, we're not playing around when we say we're trying to make an MMO experience that is unlike what we're getting on the day-to-day right now. You go and play any game, including predecessor, games that came after ones that I really enjoyed, like Final Fantasy 14, things like that, where I just can't play them and feel anything about it other than it just feels like this like monotonous theme park grind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fighting that right now for sure. I
know we hate to say the names on here, and I know you all play tons of MMOs and showcase them for what's good about them, but it's very hard to just skirt around the things that feel very basic. And one thing that you guys were just talking about was weapons and how much depth they'll have. Maybe mages will be using other things other than stabs, like things like that. And I can't help but think, oh, well, yeah, Final Fantasy 14, they literally made classes the weapon they use. So now when I'm a dragoon or when I'm a warrior, I only have this one weapon that I'll ever use. In FF11, if you were a warrior, that's what made warriors cool. They could use axes, swords, daggers, like everything. They could use some scythes.
Yep.
Yeah, I think back to EverQuest too. Like there was some cool offshoot weapons, right? Like you could get if you were the Mace of the Shadow Soul for the Shadow Knight, it was a mace. Yeah. Right? And that was like the only mace that Shadow Knights ever had. But it was really different looking, right? And like there was all kinds of those different EverQuest offshoot weapons where it defied the regular norm. And I also think about like combining weapon differences with then stat differences, because they've said, like you said, that the stats are going to affect things way differently, and all the stats are going to matter, not just the one. So like the level of customization for your character is just going to be off the charts.
Yeah, as you were saying that, I was getting like imagery, and in my head I just was like, oh, it'd be cool. It'd be cool if there was an axe that the two ends of the axe head were like flames, and it had intelligent stats, and maybe a wizard would want it.
Train them,
but at the same time, maybe I don't know, maybe a warrior could use it, and intellect did something different for a warrior. It kind of just fits those two niches. They could be niche, but I like exceptions to the rules. I like little things like that.
100% exceptions to the rules. I mean, love that stuff, right? So much. Draq, that's a great point about the Mace of the Shadowed Soul. That is a perfect example of a weapon that, like, was so just not used by classes that you wouldn't necessarily think, right? I love stuff like that. And yeah, man, I hear you. I hear what you're saying about the wanting every class to be able to use different things and not all be not be their weapon. Like, it's important.
Yeah, and Pantheon's kind of going for that, like muddying the water of meta, right?
Mhm.
Not to say there obviously will be best in slots, but they've muddied it with the way they've done everything so much that now people have to say best in slot for what, right?
Yeah.
Like that's best in slot for these couple of raid fights, but it won't be best in slot, period, for the class.
Yeah.
And the more they do all this, like, kind of stats here and stats there and acclamation here and there, and that just muddies the meta up to where it gets too annoying to even actually implement, right? So it's not like guilds will likely be implementing meta as much in Pantheon as in every other MMO, which is a crazy revelation to a player.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah, I think the other thing. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, we can get back to deciding if players are actually good or not, and not so much dependent on what they're wearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's definitely, and when you say good too, it's funny. I definitely think in my mind, as simple as don't stand in the fire. Someone who's alive, a DPS that's alive is going to do more damage. Like just being good at doing the thing that you're supposed to in the game. But then I just remember in every game I've played, every MMO I've enjoyed, I just remember people that just knew things that I didn't. I'm like, I've been playing this game for a year and a half. I didn't know that you could pull all of RFC with this one thing or something random like that.
Or
I just remember those. Yeah.
I was going to say, or just fun to hang out with. There's some people I'll carry through dungeons because they're just fun to be around, right? That's fine.
That's my strategy. That's my strategy. I don't have to be good as long as I'm funny and entertaining. I get in the parties.
The people who tread the line between wiping the raid and having fun. They're like, but we did right. We did wipe, right? And you're like, but we could. I hate you. Okay,
that's right. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's the story of my life. I don't have to be good at anything as long as I'm fun to be around. So
that's the best.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, well, we're talking about items. I just want to mention something that was brought up on stream because Joppa was talking about, when we were looking at the models, which you're actually seeing right now, and how the materials would matter too, right? It's not just a visual distinction. It's not just a skin on top of these weapons. It's actually the materials that they're made from, which I think is a cool thing to point out, right? Because we all remember the rusty mace and then there's like the steel, and you sort of move up, but like you're talking about, just distinguishing weapons based on their materials. So like whether it's higher end stuff like maybe cold dark steel, like the dwarven material and that kind of stuff. And I think that these so when people are seeing the stream tonight and people who maybe don't know Pantheon quite so much, they know this isn't just a reskin of something. The color of it, the texture, all that matters, right? I think that's super cool.
What immediately I thought about, and sorry, I'll say it just quick, what immediately I thought of and what it kind of made me think of was like, one, obviously crafting, but it kind of reminded me of like Skyrim-esque, and like every time you made stuff that were elven-like, it had this kind of common thread. So I think it's going to be even more in depth than that, but just seeing those different textures, seeing like the same weapon but in a different texture, kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah, different like racial styles too and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I actually thought of the crafting too. Like that was a little crafting being like all the crafters, like that's gonna be fun. Like if you make something and it's gonna look different if you make it out of steel as opposed to iron or whatever, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think one line, I don't want to hold too much time, but one last thing I wanted to get all of your opinions on this, and I know there's not much. I'm like looking for beans from you all because I know, but
we don't keep beans.
no, these you have to. So, but I'm just saying, as much as you guys can say from what you've played, you all have obviously played like way more and have seen, follow the game. The one thing that I hope holds true to the game, and I think is that the world stays dangerous. Is that, and I know last letter they had, or it was the last stream, they were talking about, this isn't going to be a game where you need to group. There'll be some solo ability, and I'm okay with that completely. But the one thing that I always love to think about is we see a vantage point in this game. And I mean, I'm watching people play New World right now, and there's places that people get that I'm like, oh, that's awesome. That's so sick. That looks awesome. but I'm watching my friend play, and he's literally alone. He's just like, yeah, this place is pretty cool. I'm
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
well, that's your full experience, is seeing this place by yourself. Solo.
Mhm.
So I think this is something I can say. So Pantheon is a game where yes, you can solo, and if that's your thing, and to be honest with you, even the most diehard, I want to group gameplay kind of people, we have our days where we just want to chill
Oh,
and
yeah.
kill some greens for a while. It's
Yeah.
certainly going to be super obvious, in my opinion, in Pantheon that when you are soloing, that is not the smartest path, right?
Yeah.
It's actually, in many cases, so much more dangerous and also slower, right? Slower progress, etc.
Mhm.
But for the times that you need to, because none of your friends are online at that time, or because you just want to, because you want to just chill and kill some stuff, and you don't want to have to voice chat, etc. It is viable to still get some progress done, and they just don't want people to think it's they don't want it to be like Final Fantasy 11 post level 10 back in the day, where it was like,
Yes.
if you don't get a group, then just
You might
sit
as
on
well
your
play the
butt
game.
somewhere looking for group, because you're not going to get anything done. It's not going to be anywhere near that level of hardcore.
Yeah, that game, and I didn't even need it to be. That game took it to the umph level where it was.
I
just
agree.
Like, if you were soloing, once you hit 14, you were like, I'm not going to hit 20 this year. This is not. But yeah, so that's that. I think that's the last thing, and that was more even a positive than saying a negative. It was saying he showed us the top of that dungeon today, and in any other game, it might take you 15 minutes to get there, no matter what, and it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Even when we're ready to farm that area, it doesn't. It seems like it's going to take more than 15 minutes to get there.
Totally agree. Right on, man. Great points.
Yeah, really
And,
good. Yeah,
good stuff, dude.
Always a blast talking to you all. Appreciate it. Appreciate
you too, man. It's always fun to talk to you. I'm glad we could be here for the end of your long day and cap off a good stream with a good conversation. So
yeah, man, a little hot chocolate. There might be liquor in it. I don't know.
Nice. I'm jealous. I want some. All right, man. We'll talk to you next time, dude.
Later, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks. Guys.
Yeah.
Looks like Breakout woke up.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. It looks like Breakout's got his mic fixed. I think he's on his phone, so got to cut him some slack for being on the phone and calling in. So we'll do that. So we'll Breakout. We'll try again. There, I see your mic is off, so that's good. So, hey, Breakout. Oh, come on, phone. Work.
You guys remember that time Breakout was pulling stuff as a bard while sleeping at the same time?
I do vividly. oh well, Breakout. We tried, but we'll talk to you. We know
Breakout, you're there.
We know
you
you're
can
there.
Do it.
Somebody go watch Breakout stream. Go stream real quick, and so people can talk.
He's gonna have to get his opinions in on Tuesday.
There you go. All right. Well, we'll talk to Breakout on Tuesday when I get it fixed up, and then. Yeah, so we are in the last green room resident. That is our friend Sparrow. So we're going to bring Sparrow in and say hi to her. Hi, Sparrow.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Sparrow.
Hey, it's going great.
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's always good to see Joppa and Ronak and them so excited and energized, sharing about all their progress.
And the Joppa Hawk. The Joe Hawk.
The Joe Hawk. Yes, the Joe Hawk. He pulls it off. Perfect.
He does, actually. I'm not usually a fan of the Mohawk, but I got to tell you, dude rocked it. So
He did.
Yeah. So what about the stream did you like? What was your favorite part?
My favorite part was seeing the gate and inside. As soon as it just panned across the screen, I just felt like I needed to go explore. I could hear the coolness, the dripping, the water, just feel the coolness in the air, saw all the different places to go. And when he was talking about, all the different paths have somewhere to go, something to explore, whether that's up, whether that's through different tunnels or even into the water. I need to go there. I was so hyped.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
Me too. It's just so many possibilities, right? Just so many possibilities. And the scale, the other thing too, I mentioned the height, but I also think that some of the concept art that they showed, they did a really good job of showing like how small they had, like a human for reference, like a character, and it made you feel very small. It made you feel like this was a gigantic place which actually brings me to something else, because we got a ton of like lore beans tonight, little stuff. One of the thing, where is it? I wrote it down here. I'm trying to find it, but something about what? Anyway, yeah, he said, as you learn more about the history of the gate, the scale becomes more significant. So, like music, man, like I'm all tuned in for that. So I would need to learn more about the history of this place now, because I need to learn why is it so massive, right?
Well, I feel like we heard about this place in a stream before, correct?
Yeah.
When he did the Wild Zen stream, and I feel like he said that's where the wraiths come from.
He did say that. He did say that.
So
Funny
that's
you should mention that, because I do have that actually pulled up.
But here's the deal. Here's the deal, right? So I'm really big into I don't know what it's called, but it's people that have crazy theories on old real life archaeology and ruins and things. And if this place was built for giants, right? But it's in the heartland of the gnomes, right? So, and then it's where wraiths come from. So it's like I can't put the pieces together, but it was built by a giant people.
Ooh,
for sure.
He did say that the halflings call them withered. So what if they were giants and they got withered into these wraiths?
Maybe that's a good
theory. I like it.
I like that too.
Well, Sparrow, as Therek's trying to discover the lore, we'll find the way to fill the cavern with water and drown him.
I'll still die happy as long as I know the lore. I'll die happy. You'll see me just like.
Well, this place has definitely got me third time thinking about making a Darkmere Ranger.
Yeah.
Again,
I know.
They look so cool too, and we haven't seen them in a long time. But even just from the last time we've seen them, Darkmere, please, can they be paladins? It's the coolest race, man.
Yeah,
it's the coolest race.
And I also was thinking, I know they have the underwater breathing, but I wonder if the pressure is gonna, if they're gonna be able to withstand more pressure because they're in a water environment, or if they don't really go deep, right? I don't know.
Good question. Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah.
It's a good point. Don't know. The no, I mean those are so many questions, so many lore things, and like just race, things about the abilities and how they're gonna translate and how they're gonna be used within a place like this. Man, just love that stuff.
Yeah.
So
And the gate, as much as they talk about environmental storytelling, the gate just made you want to also create your own story in this amazing place. So as much as the environment draws you in and it tells its story, it definitely gives you that vibe. Like, I just want to create my legend, my my hero story, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got like the lore from the old website, which actually, I have it in front of me here, and there's a couple lines that I think are interesting based on what we saw when they're talking about the gate on the old website. It said, it's inside the gate where adventurers will find the ancient halls of the withered and quest to uncover some of Terminus's most primeval and guarded secrets. And then it talks a lot about the halflings and the wraith hunters of the halflings, being the Nothi clan, and how this is like where they go to hunt wraiths and that kind of stuff. And like their primary opponent or nemesis was the laughing wraith, and later to become the silent wraith because they took away his voice, or he lost his voice, he lost his laugh. Anyway, just so much good lore. There's so much stuff to dig into with this, and I'm going to be spending a lot of time here, I think. So
nice. Well, we all look forward to it.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and as we uncover absolutely any of those secrets inside of there, just want everybody to know, look, guys, I'll give a warning and everything. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, hey, spoiler coming up, but I'm talking about it. I'm sorry. I'm making videos on it. I'm talking about it. So I'll give a spoiler warning, but if you don't want to know anything about Terminus and you want to find it all yourself, we're not gonna be able to keep our mouths shut.
No way.
Totally not. Absolutely. Right on. Was there anything else, Sparrow?
Just one last thought when Joppa was talking about, all the different ways to explore and to find your own ways through the environment, whether that's bringing friends who can do bridges and he just listed a bunch of ways. And what it had me thinking was a game that's being built like that. I wonder, how do you tell the difference between an exploit, where are we allowed to do this, versus a clever solution, working together to think of something outside the box, and the freedom to explore and invent ways?
Yeah.
Where's
Yeah,
that balance?
Ben Dean talked about that when I interviewed him.
Mhm.
And he said it really just comes down to, is it cool or not, right? Is it not cool because it's game breaking
Mhm.
and it ruins the experience? Or is it just cool and it's like, wow, we didn't think of that, but that's really smart and it's cool and they like it and people like it and it doesn't ruin the experience of the game. It doesn't cheapen or make that situation seem stupid. It feels cool. It feels like you figured something out. And he said those types of things are totally awesome and the things they're most looking forward to seeing us do.
Nice.
And
So a lot of freedom.
I think
Yes.
I think we as gamers also know when we're going over the line. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember, but so on the TLP servers, there was a way to cheese the dragons. You would
Yeah.
move the dragons up to a pole, and you would have your tank sit on the other side of the pole, and they couldn't.
Oh, yeah.
The dragons would then not cast spells on your
Yeah.
tank. Like,
Oh, I've done some crazy stuff where we're like hanging off of a cliff sideways
Yes.
and firing off fireballs with our toes,
Yes.
Like whatever worked, and then we try to act all innocent later, like, oh, that's not how, that wasn't the mechanic. Like, come on, bro. We knew.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's got to be a line somewhere, though. Like, to me, that doesn't sound too bad. Hanging off the cliff and from your toes. I mean, that doesn't sound too bad. I don't know. I guess they'll draw the lines for us, and it sounds great. I can't wait to experience it and see how it all unfolds and where those lines are. I'll be just on the other side of those lines.
Sounds like like Sparrow's not only considering Ranger but also Dire Lord.
Oh, I'm sure I'll have all the classes at some point.
Hey, with the enemy AI that we've seen, I'm more worried about the mobs exploiting us than us exploiting the mobs.
We're going to get exploited. Yep.
Yeah, we're the ones that are going to get cheesed. They're going to cheese us.
We're going to be reporting the NPCs.
Yeah, that's right. Report to the Wraith. That's totally a good point. Yeah. Right on. Well, anything else, Sparrow?
That was it.
That was it. Right on. Well, awesome joining us, and thank you for stopping by. And we will see you soon. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, fun as always. Night, guys.
Yeah, good night.
Good night.
I spoke too soon because Bounty Code jumped in.
Oh, Bounty Code!
I think he has a response to something.
Wait, what does he want to come on here for? His wife has already spoken.
Well, I think that's why he wants to come on. I think he's got a rebuttal or something like that. I don't know. So Bounty Code, I'm going to pull you in. So if you want to unmute yourself, I'll pull you in here. Bounty Code, your wife was just here. What did she say that you disagree with? Oh no! There you are.
Yeah, they opened the
Sparrow muted him.
She muted him.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
I can hear you. Go.
Yeah, so the chicken coop door was left open, so I figured I'd join you guys.
You made a break for it. You made a break for it when you had a chance. I see.
Yeah.
Right on, man. What's on your mind?
Well, you guys covered pretty much everything, but the one thing that stood out that really no one really mentioned is Joppa, preaching there, and he was referring to D&D 2-3 times, really trying to, make the point that there's something about that game and that style, that mechanic, or that pace that he wants us to look at.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the freedom, right? It's that when you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, you're looking around like we did the other night when playing, looking for rope, looking for, like how could we, beat the system with the tools we have available to us, right? And I think that's what he really wants to get out of Pantheon is just that feeling of freedom and like there's more than one solution. There's, all that kind of thing. So really exciting because that's what MMOs, that's what RPGs in general were meant to mimic, right?
Yep.
Is tabletop role-playing games. We got so far away from it
Yeah.
that it's hard to even imagine that in most cases now. But that was the original idea of making RPGs on computers, was to try to emulate that. And the technology is closer now than it's ever been. Baldur's Gate 3 is a great example. But that's still not an MMO. So Pantheon, I've been saying it for years, I think is the closest to D&D we've had since EverQuest. And I think that's why we liked EverQuest so much, is because it was so close to pen and paper D&D. And now nobody's even attempted to do that, right? People emulated EverQuest, but they were emulating something that had emulated pen and paper. Nobody really went back and was like, let's go back to the source and try to do that better until now. And that's what I think Pantheon's doing.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you, Nathan. That is exactly my hope, that Pantheon will be able to recapture that pen and paper, that slow, methodical, turn-based, using limited resources. So, people say, "Oh, EQ was so basic. The warrior could just auto attack." Well, that was paper and pencil. That was D&D. You didn't have 80 skills to use. You had 2 spells you memorized as a wizard for the whole day, and you had to pick and choose when you use that very strategically. So, I want to go back closer to that, not the overwhelming, twitchy 80 abilities, rotations, and I think that's what they're doing by changing their focus on the fighting, to slow it down, to make it more strategic.
Well, there's a reason people are still playing D&D to this day, right? There's a reason it's lasted. It's got some magic in it that's the reason it's lasted. And, that doesn't need to be complicated, it's not complicated. So awesome point, Bounty.
Yeah, really good point. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say before you get stuffed back in the chicken coop?
No, that's really all I wanted to bring a point to, because I noticed no one really circled back to the D&D reference.
Yeah, and everybody watching this, you should definitely check out Bounty Code and Sparrow and NathanNapalm on the Weave and Void Twitch channel. They're doing a tabletop D&D game right now, and it's awesome. It's fun to watch if you like that kind of thing, and definitely check them out. I don't know, Nathan, if you want to talk about the schedule about that. When I don't remember what nights it's on, but
it's on Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern, and it's on the Weave and Void Twitch channel. So go follow that and come hang out with us live while we play some D&D. It's a good little group of us.
Yeah, right on. Thanks, Bounty Code, for hopping in. We'll talk soon.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, see ya.
All right. Green room clear?
Green room's clear.
Awesome. All right, well, I had a blast. I loved every minute of the dev stream, and I loved every minute of the Pantheon Plus You. Love listening to the community. What do you guys got coming up for this week? Stuff you want to mention?
Nothing for me. I just want to mention it to remind folks that we are not doing a rewind on Sunday. We're taking a week off to sort of catch up on some stuff, but we'll be back the following week. We've been posting lore shorts all week. Every day of the week, there's been a new lore short posted to the channel, to our YouTube channel. So if you want to check out Pantheon Plus YouTube channel, those have been kind of fun and trying something new. But yeah, like I said, no rewind this week. We'll be back the week after, Desert and I. So I'll just say that.
I feel like I've created a monster in the shorts department. I was like, Derek, what do you think about making shorts? And he's like, okay. And then all of a sudden it's like 16 shorts later.
No.
Yeah. And I got like 2, and he's got like.
Let's be clear what exactly I said when you said that. You said, "Hey, how do you feel about doing shorts?" I'm like, you know what? I really don't want to spam the channel. I think it's important to maintain quality over quantity. I'm such a hypocrite, right? And then I'm like, "Hey, Draq, I got one every day next week."
Yeah, it's different for shorts too. The way that YouTube pushes those out is different than a regular video. So you don't have to feel bad for shoving a bunch of shorts out. It doesn't, like, to the subscriber, it's not as overwhelming as you might think it is.
Yeah, they're fun to make. They're easy and fun to make. So
yeah, they're super fun to make. Yeah.
Yeah.
and they go to a different audience too. So not always, but a lot of the times you attach to a different audience.
That's true.
Very cool.
But I am going to be back making content. Think my voice is good enough. And the news from Pantheon was too exciting, so I can always just apologize at the beginning for my video sounding like crap. But so I'll be back to making some videos this week and getting back wild with content creation again.
Awesome.
Nice. Yeah, Zip just said let's raid Redbeard Flynn, which I think we should do. I just want to mention that I'm still streaming Monday nights. If you love, we talked a lot about EQ tonight. I like EQ. So I am streaming EverQuest TLP server Monday nights, midnight EST. If you're up that late, come join us. Then, of course, the Tuesday nights is the MMO RPG Classes 101. If we can get back into Final Fantasy 14, we will do it. And then they already mentioned Weave and Void. So check that out too. Everybody have a great night. Let's raid some Redbeard Flynn here.